Okay, welcome to Year 9 Science Online with Any Van Vieren.
Transpiration. Hi, Year 9s, welcome back to the next lesson in Botany. Without further ado, let's get on with it. Okay, so yesterday we had a quick look at pollination and the purpose of the flower and how pollination works. We looked at different pollinators like the tui and hummingbirds and so forth. We also looked more closely on what pollination actually is, the where the piece of pollen lands on the sticky stigma, and then it grows a pollen tube down into the ovary through the style, and then in the ovary, once there, the sperm comes down and it then merges with the ovule or the egg cell, and that creates a seed. Okay, and then we looked at actual pollen tubes in the kiwi fruit right over here, and we could see that these are the remnants of the old flower, and this over here was the ovary, and you can see the pollen tubes coming down there going towards the various seeds to have the seeds germinated. So next time you cut open a kiwi or a strawberry, have a look at the pollen tubes. We watched this cool video about the ants being the blowflies being trapped, and then all the pollen being released on them, so that the next day they can fly away and spread the actual pollen. So today we have to talk about seed dispersal. So my first question is, why do we need to disperse the seed? Why is it important for a plant to not just drop the seed right there? Because when you think about it, what does a seed need? It needs soil and it needs water. So there's soil underneath the plant, isn't there? But if you think about it, if you drop the seed right there and it's not moved away from the mother or father plant or the parent plant, then they are going to be competing for the same resources and they're going to be competing for the same space. Moreover, the baby plant will be in the shade of the parent plant. So consequently, it is better and it gives a better chance of survival if they can spread their seeds far and wide. So, how do we do some seed dispersal? So the seed is the embryo of the plant, and it needs to be carried away from the parent plant so it can grow. The seed is formed when the sperm fertilizes the ovule inside the flower. Okay, and we looked at this extensively in the previous lesson. Now, if you look at this, there's our pollen and a pollen tube growing down. Pollen, as it lands, that is called pollination, and here it goes down all the way and it finds the ovule, and in the ovule you have a sperm cell that then fuses with the egg cell, and then we have a zygote, and the zygote turns into the seed, and the seed, as you know, is the embryo. Now when we look at the seed itself, the anatomy of a seed, we've got some internal features and external features. There's a few new words here, but the micropyle is something that is a little hole, and it's that little hole that when you water a seed, that then actually lets it go and say, hey, it's time to grow. Okay, and I'm just, as we're talking, I'm just checking the iPad quickly, um, so that we just look at the major pieces that they want us to look at. So we have the seed cover, and the seed cover is called the testa. Okay, so the seed cover is called the testa. Have you ever had a peanut with there's some peanut skin on it? That's called the testa of the peanut. Okay, embryo with the testa removed. There, the testa is still on. Then we have this area here. Okay, And that area there is called the cotyledon. There's the word cotyledon. Now, if you think about it, we talked about plants getting all their energy from the sun, but a seed is underground. How much sunlight do you have underground? Not a lot, eh? So, what a seed is basically taking all this starch and all this stored up energy with it, and then underground it uses that to grow. Okay, so the cotyledon is the one that allows it to grow. And then we'll have the first thing that comes out is called the radicle. And the radicle is the embryonic root. So it's that first little root that forms. And then after that, it sends out a plume, okay, a plumule. And the plumule is going to be growing up. So when you look at a plant, and if, especially when you eat a peanut, you will see how this works. Okay, so on page 148 is where you need to fill in all of those. The other one that you need to look at is the scar left by the attachment of the pod. But yeah. Okay, so how do seeds get dispersed? How do they get away from the mom and the dad plant? Let's have a look. Doosh. How cool is that? Now you can find these plants all over Auckland. They are called impatiens, and I love playing with them. They are good fun. Now all that energy is stored in the seed capsule, and when you disturb the seed capsule enough, it breaks free, and then the shape changes, and that change in shape actually shoots it away. Now the manuka tree actually does the same thing. When the seed pod is dry enough, it changes its shape enough so that it actually shoots the seeds away from the mother and the father plant. Here's another example of the impatient. You can see just by dropping it. And what I normally do is I pick them, and they're really ripe. I wish I could actually come and show you guys this in person, because I have a bush of them in my yard. But if they're nice and ripe and nice and fat, you put them in your hand and then you give them to somebody else and you say, just hold this for a little bit and squeeze it a little bit, and then this thing suddenly starts moving in their hand. And they think, what the heck? It's the weirdest feeling because they feel a plant moving. But yeah, so that is called mechanical or explosive seed dispersal. Okay, mechanical or explosive seed dispersal. What do you think this is? Yeah, it's a dandelion. Okay, now what type of seed dispersal is a dandelion all about? Wind dispersal, absolutely. Okay, so when the wind is blowing, these little parachutes, they can fly all over the place. We unfortunately also see that with stuff like moth plants, and you also see them with the swan plant, which, if you like the monarch butterflies, they fly around like little tufts of cotton that then is carried by the wind. What do you think is happening here? It's the coconut nut is a giant nut. If you eat too much, you get very fat. I love that song. I think I have played it for you guys before. But anyways, if you haven't heard it yet, go onto YouTube. Go see the coconut song. Anyways, what's happening here is a coconut. And the cool thing about the coconut, unlike other seeds, the coconut will fall into the ocean and then it won't grow its root first. It grows its plumule or its leaves first. And these leaves then stick up into the air and they form something that's like a sail. So it's like a sailboat. And then the wind can blow these coconuts all over the place, and that's why when you leave coconuts to disperse naturally, you always find them on the beaches, because that's where they then come out of the water and they get covered by sand, and voila, you have a coconut tree. So that is dispersion by water. Another example would be if something falls into a stream. The stream takes the seed away to another place. What is this? Hmm, yummy. Yes, this is animal dispersal. Okay, the animal eats the plant, eats the fruit goes through their digestive system, comes out the other side in the poo, and lo and behold, there you have a little fertilizer package all ready to go because it's already inside the fertilizer. It can just start growing. It's a very, very good way of doing that, and that's, for instance, why apples and various other things. Recently, when the tomatoes were ripe on the tomato vines outside my house, quite a few of them got eaten by birds, and also my dog. And you could see the tomato seeds all over the place when it went through their digestive system. But that made me think about some coffee, the world's most expensive coffee. Does anybody have any idea what that is? The world's most expensive coffee. You can only get it in Malaysia and Indonesia, or mostly get it in Malaysia and Indonesia. It's this stuff. Okay, this is a little civet cat, or like a civet cat. It's a family of the cat family, and it's a little animal that lives in the rainforests of Malaysia and Indonesia. And the people walk around, and the cat will eat the the berries of the coffee plant, and then they poop it out. And you can see here all the coffee beans contained in the poop. And then, so the people walk around looking for this coffee bean poo all over the place. And then they take that, they grind it, and they make coffee from it. They wash it first, then they grind it, and then they make coffee out of it. And they say the coffee is amazing. I will never taste it. That's just disgusting. But it costs like $80 a cup. It is extremely, extremely expensive. The unfortunate thing that's happening at the moment is these little animals, instead of having them out in the wild so that you can then go and find their feces, people are putting them in cages and just feeding them the coffee berries and then collecting the poo. And the treatment that the poor little animals undergo is not great. So, like everything in life, we need to make sure where our food comes from to make sure that it is from sustainable and cruelty free sources. Okay, so, but yeah, there you go, seed dispersal through animals. Here's another one. My daughter's favorite animal are foxes, and she absolutely loves them. But you can see all the seeds contained within this fox's coat or fur, and he's going to lie there and lick it until he gets rid of them. So he's just dispersing the seed for them. The same as when you go walking in the bush and you get home and you got all little pieces of grass and stuff that's stuck in your socks. That's basically the same way that um, those grass seeds are then dispersed by you. You sit and you pull them out, and there you go. So it's exactly the way that it was designed. So that's all animal dispersal. So we've talked about water dispersal, mechanical dispersal, wind dispersal, and yeah, animal dispersal. And then we also have another animal that disperses them, and that's us. Okay, so that is human dispersal and artificial dispersal. So over here, these guys are working hard. They're plowing a field, getting it ready, and then they're sowing something that looks like oats into that soil. And this will hopefully grow into a crop for them. Okay, so by wind, don't know if you've ever seen a maple leaf or a maple seed. It is awesome. They're like a little helicopter when they come down. By animals, um, blackberry, it goes through their poo. Sandbur, it will stick into their fur. These will also stick into their fur. By water, the lotus flower apparently goes and floats, and the coconut, and also the cattail. You've seen some of these. By bursting or explosive or mechanical, um, and this one looks very similar to the manuka, but yeah, and then by humans, beans and wheat and cherries and so forth. Now, seed germination. So the seed often lands in a position or at a time not suitable for growth. So a seed can actually hibernate. It can wait there until it is right. But what does it need? It needs water and the temperature to be right. That's basically it. It needs water and temperature. Okay, if it's too cold, it won't germinate. So germination is the process by which a seed begins to grow. The water penetrates the seed, it goes in, and then it softens the starchy part of it. And as it does that, the enzymes get activated and then they start growing. Alright, so, and as I said earlier, mostly they grow the radicle first, the radical root, for okay? And then the plumule comes out, the P for the plumule, I just think of that as the plant section of it. Okay, here's an awesome video that is all about germination. I just think it is incredible. So please watch this with me. Okay, so that's the radicle coming out of this bean. You can see how the radicle is moving down. And it's growing side roots of that. And it's starting to push that plumule up and up. You can still see the two pieces of cotyledon that is stuck to it. And the actual plumule will now open up. And you can see the cotyledon still sitting there. And all the energy came out of that. To do all of that, the energy was stored in there. Look at these still just growing and growing and growing roots. How they made this video was taking a photo every few minutes for days and days and days, and that's what it looks like it's moving. It's like that photography, almost like what you've done in the past when you've done stop motion photography. Okay, and you'll see that the two cotyledons are eventually going to fall off. Yep, there they go. And the plant is still growing and growing and growing. But now it's getting its energy from where? From the sun, using photosynthesis. Absolutely. It's using photosynthesis, turning our carbon dioxide into carbon. That's where all this plant material comes from, is from the carbon dioxide. And look at all the roots, just to get the water out, because the water is going to be used in photosynthesis. This is 3 times by speed, whatever that would be. It's showing us how the roots grow. I find this fascinating. And the main purpose of the root is to pick up micronutrients and water. Water, water, water. And the water goes to the leaves through something called transpiration. And the finest, fine part of the root is called the root hair, so that it can get in touch with the individual little droplets of water in the soil. Okay, that's 25 days of growth. Okay, I hope you liked that one. So that's where we'll stop for today. So we looked at germination and at seed dispersal. So can I please ask you to complete page 148, 149, and 151. I will write that down for you as well. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day. Bye.